Hi, this is Brad Linder with Liliputing, and I have here two boxes from Samsung. Google's taking two different approaches towards operating systems at this point. There's the Google Android operating system, which is meant for tablets and smartphones, and runs native apps and web apps, and is sort of more of a portable device that you would use, well, for a phone, or for organizing media the way you would a phone, or playing games and so forth. And the other is Google Chrome, which is basically a web browser. It's an operating system designed entirely around a web browser, and the idea is that you can interact with web apps the way that you would with native apps, but you don't need to have all the extra gunk in there. You don't need to spend a long time waiting for your computer to boot and running native code and getting malicious software downloaded to your device and so forth, because everything's on the web and everything's updated immediately. As soon as somebody pushes out an update to a web app, it's updated. So Samsung is going along for the ride with Google here with two different devices. This is the Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1, and this is the Samsung Series 5 Chromebook. So let's take a quick look at the pretty much the retail packaging. These are both demo units that Samsung sent to me to review for a few weeks before I send them back. You can see on the tab here we've got a 10-inch tablet with a 1280 by 800 pixel display, dual-core NVIDIA Tegra processor, 7,000 milliamp hour battery, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and 16 gigs of storage. We open it up, and it's pretty much nothing but tab. Well, plus some information here on the plastic, so widescreen viewing, Adobe Flash, etc. Now, I've already shown some pictures and other details about this tablet. It is the thinnest and the lightest 10-inch tablet you're going to find from any manufacturer at this point. It's about 1.25 pounds, and it's less than a third of an inch, or about a third of an inch thick. Not a lot of buttons, just sort of the power button here, and the I think these are the volume rocker dials, speaker, docking port at the bottom, another speaker. There's not a user replaceable battery. There's not an SD card slot. Oh, we've got a microphone port up here. So it's pretty basic stuff. Let's go ahead and power it on, and you might need to charge it before it turns on. No, there we go. And we're going to set that aside for a minute while it boots for the first time, which is usually a little slower. You can see here, it's going through that. And take a quick look at what else came in this box. We've got some information here, manual. Power brick, or power charger, sort of comes in two parts here. We've got the USB adapter and this adapter which slides into it. So there might be different adapters for different regions. We've got a proprietary USB cable and docking port here. So you're not going to be able to use just a standard USB cable. You're going to need the Samsung device to synchronize with your computer or to charge. And it also comes with a set of earbuds, which is pretty standard for smartphones these days, but not necessarily for tablets. So that's a nice additional thing to have. And there's even some extra little rubber nubs there. Now it's booted up, and we can click Start, and we're going to skip the setup for now. We'll go through that later. And what we're getting is a pretty much stock Android 3.1 experience here. Eventually, over the next couple of weeks or months, Samsung's going to send out a TouchWiz update, which will do things like let you drag up from the bottom of the screen to access recently run programs and so forth. For now, you can do, well, there are no recently run programs. Now you can view recent programs using the Google tools. Get a list of applications here. It does have Music Hub and Samsung's apps here, as well as Pulse, which is a newsreader, so it's got a couple of preloaded applications, but for the most part, what you see is what Google gives you. We'll have more details about the software and the performance coming up soon, but for now, let's take a look at Samsung's other device, which is the Series 5 Chromebook. Looks like this is the Verizon model. There will also be a Wi-Fi only model. The Verizon model gives you up to 100 megabytes of free data per month for 2 years. 100 megabytes isn't a lot, but it's going to be enough to sort of whet your appetite, help you decide if you want to spend more money on 3G, or just check your email on a very occasional basis or do some other things when you're not near a Wi-Fi hotspot. Now this has an 11.6-inch display, an Intel Atom dual-core N570 processor. They also threw in a 4 gigabyte SD card here. I'm not sure if that comes standard or not. And product manual information. And VGA adapter, if you want to use an external port or external display. Pretty standard laptop battery or laptop charging cable. Let's take a quick look at the laptop itself. Fairly thin and light for an 11.6-inch model, but still very heavy compared to the tablet. And you know, it's hard to compare a laptop and a tablet, but they're both sort of running the Google software. You can see here that it's got Chrome on the label, and that's actually a raised Chrome logo. And the Samsung logo is also raised a little bit. Around the sides we've got a headset jack, looks like a vent. Tucked away in here is that VGA adapter plus a USB port. Actually, that's the power adapter. Here's the headset jack. On the front, we've got the SD card slot. And another USB port, so just a total of 2. Actually, there's the SD card slot. So what are... I guess there's 2 SD card slots. Interesting. Where's that micro SD? It's not labeled, but I'll look that up and add some information later. On the bottom, no real access panel. There's a couple of screws here. I'd be curious to see what happens if you try to undo them. But it doesn't look like anybody really wants you opening this up and changing the RAM or the storage or anything along those lines. On the inside, turns on pretty much immediately. And if you look down here, I'm having some problems focusing. Zoom out. You can see that the touchpad is just one wide area. There's no buttons. It's fairly responsive, has a nice texture to it, feels a little different from the surrounding area here. The keyboard has also been designed so it's not just a Windows laptop that happens to have some Chrome functions, but up here where you normally get FN keys on a Windows laptop, you've got back, forward, refresh, brightness, volume, etc. So clearly designed specifically for use with a web browser. Control and Alt buttons, Tab button, Search button built right into the keyboard as well. And the setup is pretty simple. You should really just be able to choose your Wi-Fi network, log in with your Google ID, and go from there. Now you have to click all the way, it turns out. Just to tap the way you might be used to doesn't work properly. Okay, well I'm running out of time in this video, so let's just do a quick look here, and we'll come back and look at more of the details in the Chromebook and the Galaxy Tab 10.1, but you can see very different approaches. One has a full keyboard, a sort of full touchpad, a large high-resolution display, and a webcam facing forward the way that you would expect for web apps and running Google Chrome. The other also has a webcam, but also a rear webcam, so you can use it like a camera. It's much thinner, much lighter, much easier to carry around with you. So whereas this is really meant for use on the go, this is meant for, you know, maybe doing a little bit of work, putting it down on a table, and getting various things done, and experiencing the web the way that you would with a full desktop experience. This is Brad Linder with Liliputing and Samsung's 2 new Google devices.